Alrighty, guys, what's up? Well, we got the penultimate, well, actually, depending on whether we get a game in and after this or not, but penultimate, possibly ultimate match, final match of tonight's casting series. We are going to be bringing you the Shurima Division Showdown. This is going to be the Dandelion Knights versus Team Billy. So excited to get this one underway. Neither of these two teams are strangers to the Casual Esports Amateur League Shurima Division. Team Billy has been with us. They started in Season 2, and the Dandelion Knights actually started in Season 0. So these guys definitely have experience against each other. Both of them made it to the playoffs. Last split, guys, Dandelion Knights and Team Billy were both unfortunately eliminated in the first round. But Team Billy ended this regular season with the best record, and Dandelion Knights ended in that third, fourth spot once playoffs were said and done. So these teams have played against each other, possibly a rivalry brewing here. Both have made a couple of roster changes on the offseason and looking to bring the heat here in Casual Esports Amateur League Season 3. My name is Foozle Bamboozle. I'm joined by Karen Franz tonight for the cast. We're pretty hyped to get this one underway. What are a couple things that you're looking forward to for this match, Karen?
Well, mainly for that rivalry aspect that you talked up a bit. I mean, I remember playing against the Dandelion Knights back in Season 0. They were a really good opponent to have back then. So I'm very eager to see what they've done since then. I haven't been in Seal much in the last few seasons as a player. So coming back in this season, I'll be playing against both these teams later this season myself. So super eager to see what both have to offer. Very eager to see what sort of rivalry has developed between the two of them and how, what I can take away from this myself personally.
Yeah, and the roster swaps, while I did mention them, they weren't that drastic. So Team Dandelion Knights, they still have the same top lane. ADC changed his name from Buff Draven to Buff Aphelios. Not that Aphelios is in a bad spot, but I guess the dude just likes his Aphelios. No Tagro in support. Mystic Wave, I believe, was their jungler, and Yastario played mid. Yastario now moved to a different team. Infinite Blades is in the jungle. And for Team Billy, they actually just ended up swapping out their support. So they did have Death Adder as a support last season, and Ayoka is playing support this season. So both teams, I believe, just swapped out one player. Could be wrong on the Dandelion Knights, but for the most part, still the same structure. And I think, I'm really excited to see all these moving parts come together, and there is experience between these two. Not a lot of tank players on this team. Illuminati did play a couple of tanks back in Season 2, but both these top laners are pretty good on their carries. Both mid laners play carry champions, so I feel like we're going to see a lot of action in this series especially. And not that we haven't in any of the previous series, but probably won't see the same kind of two core comps that we saw. I'm excited to see like 4 or 5 carries in each roster lineup. So let's jump into the draft, and we'll take a look at what they picked here, and let me see if we can get that up on the screen. So the compositions here, the first thing that jumps to me right off the bat is we get to see buffed Lissandra here, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as we talk about the Lissandra Yasuo matchup. What jumps off the bat to you, Karen, right away as you're seeing these drafts?
Looking at this, we have both the Set and the Fiora. I think that gives us a lot of potential for a 1-3-1 comp coming out of TDK. They can easily have Ezreal, Lulu, Lissandra chill in mid lane, while Fiora and Set are both looking to push down a side lane, really putting pressure across the map. So I'm very eager to see that play out. Meanwhile, on the other side with Team Billy, they do have a Yasuo pick, but they only have Trundle Pillar to set him up for his ultimate engage. So I'm a bit hesitant about that one. I would have liked to see a little bit more, but they do have a really good team fight if they're able to keep going. We're going to see Grievous Wounds be absolutely vital against for TDK coming up against this team with a Soraka, a Trundle, a Vladimir, a lot of sustain. The longer these fights play out, the better that team will do.
What's interesting for this draft is that Team Billy usually likes to take the Gragas Yasuo. Stro plays a really good Gragas, and they pair that up with Yasuo in the mid lane quite frequently. It's actually one of their go-to combinations. So curious that with the Gragas still being left open that they would choose the Trundle instead. My thought process is maybe they're trying to secondary pick for the jungle that can set up the Yasuo reasonably well. Let's say the Gragas gets banned or something like that. So they might be opening up with setting up like a backup for this combo. That's kind of a core to the way that they like to play. Now with Death Adder off the roster here and Aoka stepping into support, we'll probably see more enchanters down in the bot lane. I know Death Adder played more engaged supports like the Nautilus and things like that. So yeah, you're definitely right about Grievous Wounds. If it is the Fiora top, which I think we're most likely to see, both those top laners rely heavily on their healing. Vladimir maybe a bit more, so we'll likely see that Executioners out of the Fury early to combat all the healing you were talking about, and then the Vladimir probably not a Morello's buy until later on, if even at all. So he might have a little bit more trouble reducing the Fiora healing reduction.
I do have to say, with Lyssandra's heal on her self ult, very great deterrence tool for potential engages if they do end up running that 1-3-1 style. But that will also make Grievous Wounds more valuable for TB themselves, being able to reduce the healing that she throws down on herself and shields.
Yeah. For me, I'm keeping an eye on this top lane as probably one of the more pivotal matchups, and one of the main reasons I'm looking at that is, of course, with the Yasuo pick mid, Illuminati is going to have some AP champions in his pool. Otherwise, you're running the risk of going to full AD comp and the enemy stacking armor against you, especially in a competitive game where players are kind of on the same page as to where their builds are going to go. So I'm really looking at this top lane. If Cameron Beats is able to win this lane pretty hard and set the Vladimir behind, then that team like the Set, the Lysandra, even Ezreal can build path into some armor in their build and negate a lot of the damage coming out of Team Billy. So I'm looking at Illuminati as a really key player to try and get going. If not in the early to mid game, more so in the late game, because they really need him to be a threat. If he's not, then the itemization is going to be made a lot easier from the Dandelion Knights.
I agree. All right, are we ready to get going into game one?
I think so. Let's get this thing. Getting started. So.
Alrighty. So loading up here into game one. Both sides ready to go. So we do have confirmed, Cameron Beats on that Fiora, Infinite Blades running set in the jungle. Not a terrible surprise right there, but it's nice to have the confirmation anyways.
Yeah, I'm curious to see this Lysandra versus Yasuo mid. We did get quite a hefty buff to Lysandra in the most recent patch, which just came out a couple of days ago. And she's always been a really good answer to melee champions, and to champions that like to get in with the assassination, not just because of her ult, which denies or makes her immune to damage for a short period of time, but also her lockdown, able to stop the mobility of some of these assassins, and the ability to land Qs in the lane early on against melee champions. So I think the Lysandra is going to be a pretty good answer to the Yasuo, and plus the fact that it's buffed. I think I'm really curious to see how this lane goes. Lysandra's not necessarily an impressive laner, but can actually handle stuff like the Yasuo pretty well. I expect her to maybe play a little bit farther back. Yasuo has priority against almost any laner, so if she gives him the due respect in the early lane and then can set up with the Set to try and take him down in a gank setting, I think this could be really interesting for the Lysandra. So I'm curious about mid lane for sure. Where's your eye on as far as the lane goes?
See, you called out top lane as your lane to watch. I think for me it is the mid lane.
Okay.
I want to see Lysandra either bully the Yasuo and then be able to roam and get the side lanes going, or I want to see Yasuo kind of pop off and really threaten, kind of shut down any possibility of a 1-3-1 because they could counter with Vlad and Yasuo themselves.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, though, we have Fiora being a little bit aggressive against the Vlad up top lane, a little bit of poke, but not too much. Backs off.
Yeah, you expect Vladimir with the range advantage to be able to take control of this early lane, but Fiora is not too shabby herself when it comes to jumping in and getting those trades off versus ranged opponents. So I expect Cameron Beats not to concede this lane. It looks like he's not already getting aggressive with it, and that's what I want to see.
Yep.
Because if you're standing back and kind of taking it from the Vladimir, you can put yourself in a pretty rough spot. So Fiora
we do have Set coming in mid lane here, but Trundle's here at the same time. So
2v2.
Yasuo flashes out of the 2v2, and both teams just disengage.
Yeah, that was going to be a bit tricky from them. The CC setup from the Set and the Lysandra, just a better level 2 combo than the Trundle Yasuo. So smart from iGlitchy to just path out of that one and back up. I do think the 2v2 is pretty well in TDK's favor, at least early on. So
I agree. It's worth noting that for that instance, at the very least, Lissandra just used her CC, so she didn't have it for the gank. But regardless, I 100% agree. I think the 2v2 favors their team, at least currently.
yeah. Bot lane, you think this is going to be a farm lane? You think we're going to see some trades, or is this going to be impacted by the jungler? What do you think this bot lane is going to play out? We got 2 enchanter supports. We got 2 fairly passive ADCs. None of them super oppressive in laning phase. How do you see this playing out?
I have to say it's probably going to be a more passive lane, I feel like. Aside from jungle interference, I don't expect a whole lot from either side. Yep, passive ADCs, neither one's looking to be particularly aggressive early. Combine that with the enchanter supports for both of them, I'm not looking for bot lane to be the major activity spot of this game.
Yeah. Despite Trundle not offering as much to a gank early on as maybe the set when it comes to CC and stuff, definitely still a really good duelist, especially with the Conquer when he's going into the Aftershock from the set. So you just saw on the minimap in the top lane, I'm still kind of
a lot
bully,
of
but
trade in right there. Cameron Beats comes out on top of that trade, which is pretty nice.
yeah, Illuminati had the wave there, so we couldn't
might
go
be
any
setting
farther.
up a gank up there. Well, looks like he's backing off.
Yeah, so we're seeing Stro take his second scuttle, and I was kind of talking about the Trundle ability to duel, especially with the Conquer. Is able to bully Infinite Blades off in the 1v1 just because of the nature of Trundle. So was able to get a double scuttle there, which is awesome. Pathing right there into the Raptors to steal some farm, and you see him already getting...
Meanwhile, Fiora heading in on the Vlad is able to turn a lot of damage over,
Early.
trying to get that Q stack pop off, but isn't able to get that last Q. Lots of damage, though.
Yeah, this is... You can see Cameron Beats really wanting to go in and finish off this kill, but the wave, Illuminati has set that up quite nicely on his side, so there's going to be so much creep damage coming back at him. So kind of frustrating for Cameron Beats, as I think he may have been able to look for a solo kill in the long lane, but just look, you see that, so many creeps that are built up.
Here she's going in again. Illuminati took a tower shot, but see, this is the struggle that Fiora's having. She's winning the fights. Oh, meanwhile, Vlad comes in, flashes, drops the pool, is able to get back out and do the tower shot. But as I was saying, Fiora's winning the little skirmishes, but Vlad is able to sustain up afterwards, and it's allowed him to push her out at this point.
Yeah, you saw Cameron Beats kind of walk in and take an empowered Q. It's very important laning versus a Vladimir to keep track of that that meter down below his health bar. If it's close to full, he'll get a Q that's far more empowered and heals him for a lot more than the normal Qs. So Cameron Beats kind of walked up and took a big Q there. So got to keep track of that on the Vladimir and save yourself some hurt by kind of pathing away and playing more defensive when that empowered Q comes up.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right now, gold's still even. Nobody's died yet. It's been mostly just farming and a bunch of skirmishes thus far. Trundle's working his way bot lane, though. I don't know. Is he doing the scuttle? Nope, he's cleared out the vision there. Might be looking to gank, though the lane's pushed up, so he might try to walk behind and get a lane gank going.
Yeah.
Don't think they're aware of that blue ward in the middle bush. All right, nope, he's going to head off.
The Ashe and the Soraka are pretty actively pushing this, so I'm not sure what the communication is there. I don't know if they wanted to back them off, and I think, yeah, it looks like they might be going for the dragon. Is Trundle leashing that? Yeah, I think he's going for it. You can see on the mini map there, starting that one up, and I think
he started it. He's pulled it out. There is a ward on it though for TDK, so they are aware of what's going on.
You see Mystic Wave. You see Mystic Wave just recalling there, and Set just coming out of base. So doesn't look like they're planning to contest, despite the knowledge that they have that it is going on. Bot lane prio is so important when it comes to this, and so I think that's probably why Stro was there in the first place, is to make sure that bot lane was able to push safely and be there for a counter gank. So nice kind of play. They set it up. You can tell they set it up 45 seconds ahead of time. But top lane, Illuminati drops his Hemoplague there.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's possible as well with the way that the vision was set up for that Trundle might have been able to just aggro the dragon with his pillar and have it come out of the den area, so he himself didn't show on the mini map, so they might not have been aware of it occurring at the time.
Yeah. Regardless, good play setup.
Lissandra coming in bot lane. She's level 6. Ezreal comes in, forces the flash immediately out of the Ashe. Yep, Ashe is going to walk away, but Soraka's got nowhere to go. So basically, it's just a matter of who are they going to give the kill to. Oh, she flashes away. She might be... Nope, there she goes down. Meanwhile, we have the teleport coming in from Illuminati. Trundle forces the flash out of Bastophilios. He goes down to the Hemoplague, Vlad Z, whatever the fuck it's called. Meanwhile, there goes Lulu. All
Yep.
right. Good
Really good
collabs.
counterplay.
Yeah, very nice reaction coming out of Team Billy to respond to Mystic Wave's roam. Ultimately, did manage to turn it 2-1 in their favor.
It's a tough spot when you're Lissandra because you're working with a Lulu and an Ezreal lane, which doesn't have a whole lot of CC
Yep.
to set up. So you could tell when he walked in, he's like, okay, I gotta be the only engaged. I gotta be the one setting this up. But meanwhile, he was the one offering most of the damage. So when they kind of split up and didn't allow him to get on right away, Soraka was able to buy a lot of time, and we got the TP and Trundle down there. So tough kind of engaging without a lack of CC and good response from Team
Meanwhile,
Billy.
we have Set coming in. He does force the flash out of Yasuo, but meanwhile, there's a bit of miscommunication with Mystic Wave backing off. All right, and Yasuo is able to survive.
Yeah, I really liked the respect flash from iGlitchy because even though Mystic Wave did not have access to his frozen tomb, I think there was a chance he would have died had they been able to get onto him, lock him down with the W from the Lissandra. So I do really like that flash, good respect flash, and he did that earlier in the gank that we saw at level 2, and he does it again now and keeps his life and a nice 20 CS lead to boot.
Absolutely. All right. Heading back to a lull in the game. Oh, Yasuo going in on the Lissandra just as I was talking. Ignite drops down. He is going to pick it up with the Ignite. Walks out.
Yeah. Steel Tempest to close that one out. Yeah, and the Frozen Tomb, you can see is off cooldown right now, so must just not have had access to it in that. Not sure if that was timed, as we have a skirmish here in the top lane. Again,
Meanwhile, Set coming in top lane onto the Vladimir, throwing down some good damage. Fiora's not really in a spot to answer this. Meanwhile, Trundle's right around the corner. All right, Soraka ult comes in, and they decide to disengage. Trundle's going to finish off that Herald.
Yeah, they were put in kind of a tough spot there because Cameron Beats, we talked about that wave. He actually had to clear that under turret or he was going to lose a lot of gold, so couldn't really follow up on the set there. And then meanwhile, Vladimir was just baiting into the Trundle, so good on them to back out, but Team Billy do get the Rift Tail.
Meanwhile, we got some trades going on bot lane. Ash takes a good bit of damage. Soraka's trying to heal it up. There goes the Ignite. Lulu drops first, but Ezreal's able to pick it back up with the ultimate and Arcane Shift right in.
Yeah, so what a sacrifice play from Notagro. He actually, despite being far lower in health, drops the ult on Buff Aphelios to make sure he stays alive.
Well, Fiora looks like she's going for the tower dive here. He's able to get 2 of the props off, but yep, decides to back off at the end. Goes back in a little bit more for a bit more damage. Plays it smart, plays it safe.
This is tough.
Glad with that sustain, though.
Yeah, so we see actually Set pretty deep into Team Billy's jungle. I'm not sure if he's trying to wrap around on top or mid. I think he is going for mid. The Frozen Tomb is up for Mystic Wave, so they see if they're able to make this happen.
There's the ultimate coming down. Frozen Tomb put down. They pick it up. Mystic Wave secures the kill.
Yeah, good timing for them to lock the CC. You see iGlitchy wanting to get off that last breath from the Steel Tempest knockup, but was CC during that period of time, so wasn't quite able to get it off. And a nice chain of CC from Infinite Blades and Mystic Wave to pick up the kill. And crucially, they get it onto Lissandra.
Yeah, absolutely.
CS leads, you can kind of see, are starting to appear in the solo lanes. Team Billy's Yasuo mid, about a 30 CS lead there.
Fiora's going in again, trying to pick up some damage on this Vlad. All right, he turns the tables on her, though. Damage comes out pretty well. That's sustain.
Yeah, good of him to wait for the parry to expire before landing his empowered Q. Wouldn't have wanted to get that parried because that's a lot of damage and healing you're missing out on. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see Cameron Beats stop taking these trades, especially if he's able to complete an Executioner's Calling. Doesn't look like he's going for that right now. Looks like he's pathing straight into the Blade of the Ruined King right away. But yeah, even with that,
2v2 coming down here. Lissandra does get brought up by the Yasuo ultimate. She's brought low and finished off. Set, meanwhile, is trying to survive this. Oh, good flash from the Trundle to get away from that. Looks like he's probably going to get brought down. Yep, there it is. Stro finishes it off. Meanwhile, though, we have Raka being brought down by the dragon. Now they're caught out by their enemy's red jungle. They're sitting on the blast code. Oh, and Yasuo gets put on the wrong side of the wall.
Oh my
Meanwhile,
goodness.
no aggro is here, trying to 1v1 the Trundle with a dragon, but Ash picks up the kill. And they do manage to take both of them down. Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, so overall,
events.
yeah, that's crazy. I think that ended up being a 2 for 3 in favor of Team Billy, but it's not over yet.
Yep, meanwhile, Vlad is flashing after that. Ezreal's flashing away. So much is going on. Set's actually had time to respawn. Same with Lissandra. All right, they're going to try and put some damage down onto the Vladimir. Ooh, he uses the Vlad as a way into the Dragon. Does not manage to secure it, though. Goes over to Team Billy. Meanwhile, it's a 2v3 right now. And there goes Set, and Lissandra is going to follow shortly thereafter. So they did pick up the Vladimir kill, but the cost of another 2 deaths and the Dragon.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there. Is we did get, overall, I don't know what the exact count was. I think it ended up being a 3 for 6 in favor of Team Billy. I think they actually were able to get an ace and 1 over, not all together. But crucially, they ended up with the Dragon, and I think this stemmed from the 2v2 in jungle mid that we saw around the Raptors, where Ibstro and Iglechi were able to handily take care of Mystic Wave and Infinite Blades. And with the Aftershock set, you notice how much CC they had early to set up those ganks, but they weren't really getting kills off of it until pretty later on. Well, now they're lacking a decent amount of damage. Lissandra's not a high damage mid laner. And the Yasuo Trundle just have what it takes to be able to out-sustain and take these long extended fights. And so kind of feeding off that, Imstro was able to heal up after the...
Yeah, meanwhile, Yasuo's looking for the fight here on Fiora. She pops off one of her little procs and walks out of it, though.
Yeah. So Iglechi, we didn't really talk about it much, but Stro actually dropped the Herald a few minutes ago in mid, and they were able to take the entire turret and get all 5 plates with it. So Iglechi kind of running around looking for a place to go, since the mid lane really isn't set up for him to continue in that phase. I'd like to see maybe a roam bot with the Trundle and try and break open that lane, but we'll see what they play towards here. Dragon is going to be in a little while. We've got the Rift coming up, probably within a couple of minutes here.
Right now, everything's just... I said this a few times now, but it looks like it's actually settled down for a little bit.
Yeah,
as another fight does break out.
Yeah.
Well, these teams just love brawling right now. As Set is trying to take it 1v1 to the Yasuo, doing pretty well. There's the Soraka ultimate. Yasuo turns it around. So many shields popping on them. Lissandra's joined it, though, as has Ezreal. They're able to pick it up. Meanwhile, top lane, 2v1, Fiora is brought down by Stro and the Illuminati.
Yeah, while when Trundle is not there to steal away the tanky Set stats, he actually does do a lot of damage, and was almost able to 1v1 the Yasuo, and might have been able to 1v1 the Yasuo in a in a straight up 1v1 despite building full tank. So while I like the 2v2 from Team Billy right now, if there's no Trundle there, then Set's odd look a lot better in that fight. Here comes Mystic Wave. The turret is taken down. Is there gonna be a fight here? Don't think so.
Both teams are disengaged off of that one. They kind of saw that there's nothing more to fight over, and it's just risk and death for no reason.
A bot lane, Joe Killer and Aoka going to take down this turret. It's just the Lulu here, so they'll pick up the third one of the game.
Mid lane, but I don't think he's going to have the damage because Yasuo is here.
Yeah, it is a 3-1 Yasuo, or a 3-1 Ezreal, so I don't know if Iglechi wants to take this fight. But Team Billy take a sweep of the outer turrets, get top, mid, and bottom there, and none yet collected from the Dandelion Knight. So they need to start locking down some of these objectives to even out the map. Otherwise, Team Billy will have good control of the river.
Yeah, it's worth noting Team Billy also has both of the dragons thus far. So.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about the soul. It's going to be a cloud soul coming up for these guys. So every dragon from here on out is going to be a cloud dragon. So we see a fight start.
Yeah, Trundle's being picked off by the Set, gets ulted by Lissandra. They're trying to bring him down, but he is surviving a good amount of time. And meanwhile, Set just gets blown up. Mystic Wave is in a bad spot. Meanwhile, now we have no aggro, and Buff Philios trying to take down the Vlad, but he buys a lot of time and heals like crazy. Oh my god. Meanwhile, Ezreal is brought down at the very end there, so that is a total 4 for nothing. That's going to be Shelly. Fiora does manage to take a tower down bot lane. I'm not sure if that was worth it quite yet, but she's looking to push for the second tier.
Yeah, this is crazy. They're getting the Rift Herald off of this, and a lot of gold and a 4 for 0. And man, this Trundle is just
top, and I think they're just going to go brain Shelly right mid.
Yeah. This Trundle's doing work in these fights. The fact that he's got a tank set that he can steal the stats from and survive that long despite building full damage is actually crazy, and he's doing so much in the process. Iglechi was able to get over there and do a last breath off of the Trundle pillar, and that fight just went sideways. Illuminati, testing his limits to the max, was able to get down to about 100 HP and then heal it right back up, doing so much damage.
Shelly's looking for that charge. Hasn't charged yet. Is going to hit that mid. Meanwhile, no aggro is forced to flash out of there. So they did secure that mid tower. They did force Fiora off that tier 2 bot tower, and they're heading for that third dragon now. Looks like.
Yeah, they're gonna go collect this one. No use in. They've got 3 bounties on their team, so they don't want to overextend and make a dumb play for that inhibitor. But
Yep.
we might
Here
be
comes
caught out
Fiora,
here.
forcing the fight. Gets knocked up by the Yasuo ultimate and taken down. Meanwhile, Lissandra has to ult herself. There goes Yasuo. Nice set all coming in. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, though. He does drop himself. Ezreal does pick up the kill on Ashe. Or actually, Lulu did. My apologies. But they return it right back around. Ez has to flash out of there and still dies at the very end.
Yeah.
Was that Hemoplague that got him?
Yeah,
I'm
the
honestly not sure.
Hemoplague finished him off there in the end. Yeah, that looked like a pretty close fight from the Dandelion Knights, but once Illuminati came up from the bot lane and said, hey, it's a 4v5, I'll go ahead and wrap this one up real quick. Lands the Hemoplague, drops 2 kills of his own, and it's the Trundle and Vladimir that do end up surviving. So I really like the engage. Mystic Wave did everything he could on the Lissandra. Cameron Beats got the flank off, but you don't have a lot of damage, team fight damage sources. I mean, you look at the Fiora, great duelist, built for side lane, set building full tank, Lissandra's utility. Ezreal's got some decent amount of kills and gold in his pocket, but without the Triforce build, he's going to be behind in damage. So where's your damage source for the team fights, really? And there's just a lot more from Team Billy's side, and they're able to close out the fight. So yeah, and pick up the dragon afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Just kind of clearing out vision right now. Everybody's taking a breather, including the casters, getting ready for whatever happens next in this action path to match.
Oh yeah, trying to sneak in a sip of White Claw before the next 5v5 breaks out.
How this cast has been going.
Yeah.
All right. So right now, if you were the Dragon Knights, what would you be looking to do to stay in this game and turn it around?
So if I was the Dandelion Knights,
Knights. I apologize. Too much D&D references in my head right now.
Yeah, so right now you've got a little bit of a break in the dragons, but unfortunately the Baron is on the table, so you have to get over there and start clearing out those wards. I like that they've got Fiora in the split because I do think she can handle the Vladimir there. I don't know if I like the Blade of the Ruined King. I would really want to see an Executioners by now to deal with that. But I do think they have a good chance with Fiora in the split push, and I'd like to see the other 4 try and look for a pick. You know, you've got the utility, you've got the set and the Lissandra CC. I'd love them to stack in a brush and see if they can get a pick and transition that into, you know, some pressure and maybe a turret. If they kind of split around and try and look for 4v4 fights, it's just not going to go their way. So I'd like to see Fiora separate, unless she doesn't think she can 1v1 the Vlad, but it's kind of tough at this point. I really want to see them use their utility. That's what they've got. They need to make a pick.
Looking for the fight here. That was a pretty early teleport, but
his team's not with them. Yeah, not sure if they thought they were going to be under threat or just really, really want to defend that mid turret, but that's TP from Illuminati, and that actually opens up the map a little bit more for. And you can see the pings are going to the side lanes from Team Billy, and that's where the attack is going to come from the Fiora.
Yep, there's Ashe ult engage onto the Lulu. They are going to teleport back in. Fiora's got no way out of that. That's going to be a really bad spot for her to appear into.
Yeah.
She does parry and is able to flash out, but there's the Ashe, is able to pick her up. Meanwhile, Seth's trying to run away, but he doesn't really have any good disengage.
Oh, no.
So that is a triple kill going on to the Ashe. That tower is going to be dropping. Lissandra's trying to do what she can there, but I don't think she has a whole lot of options, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yep, there's Trundle coming in on her towers. She's going to have to use her hourglass, but Ezreal finally is able to join into the fight. He's taking a lot of damage himself. Ashe picks that one up as well.
That's dirty. Yeah, you hate
That's
to see
an unofficial penta there, triple then a double.
Yeah. You know you're not in a good spot when your set gets choke slammed in the middle of his own superplex, and Team Billy are going to take this one away. Got 2 people up to defend, and a third one comes here, so we'll see if the Fiora set and Lulu can hold it.
So much going on right now. Set's going to drop. Fiora, yep, she goes down too. That's going to be the game 1. 22 minutes. Pretty decisive, really, very snowball-heavy action game there. A lot of action.
Yeah. A very quick close from Team Billy, and you know, I may be thinking that they kind of wanted to bait him into a 1-3-1. They did have the engage on their side with the Ashe. Once they saw the Fiora bottom, they saw the Ezreal top. which I definitely would have liked them to start a 4-1 and not the 1-3-1 from Dandelion Knights. Not sure if they were just trying to collect farm or something, but it ended up happening such that they saw Ezreal top the Fjord bot. They pulled the trigger right onto the Lulu, and it became kind of a series of events where then the set tried to go in afterwards to save the Fjord TP, resulted in her being killed, and it, it was just kind of unpeeling of the onion to Team Dandelion Knights' demise. So they're going to take the L in game one. Team Billy pick up the win. 7-0-19 on this Trundle, and man, did he do work in that early game. The skirmishes, the 2v2, the river control, despite losing a 2v2 earlier on and having to burn the Yasuo flash, he came back in a big way, able to secure 3 dragons for his team. Joe Killera popped off 11, 2, and 13. I would give the MVP, though, to the Trundle for sure. For me, was able to really control the game with how much damage, survive a couple of crucial close engages, and get his team the win in this first game. So
yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to take a few minute break right here as we set up for game 2. So bear with us for a few minutes as we get everything ready on our side, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes.
cool. Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to Game 2 of Team Billy versus the Dandelion Knights. We got quite the rabble-rouser in Game 1, despite Gragas being not picked by either team. Really excited for Game 2. Team Billy had a really strong showing, and as we hop into draft right away, let's get that pulled up out here on our screen so we can just start unpacking that draft right away. We see the Yasuo ban coming out from Team Dandelion Knights. They're not wanting to deal with that synergy that iGlitchy has with Stro in the mid lane. Yasuo probably being his best champion there. Team Billy went for the early Vladimir pick, so they wanted to secure that right away, not even caring who it was up against.
A lot of confidence on that pick.
Yeah, and they counter with a Riven. How does that matchup look? Like, is that going to play out the same way as a Fiora, you think? Or what does Riven have over the Fiora in this case? It wasn't banned.
So I think what we saw with this was Team Billy said, okay, we saw your Fiora. We saw that we could handle it because even though Fiora was winning fights, Illuminati was able to out-sustain and keep that lane going. He
Yeah.
was good in farm. It worked out well for him, and then he just became a monster in team fights.
Yeah.
So I think with the Riven pick, I'm honestly super excited for it. I love seeing people play Riven because I can't play her, so it's great when other people do. And I think it gives them a lot more options to trade with the Vladimir, pick the fights that they want. And with the Jarvan jungle, she's still able to kind of get out of those fights pretty well. She has the way to hop over this Jarvan wall there at the end if she needs to. Meanwhile, Vladimir doesn't have any hard CC of his own to pin her down. So I think it's a cool pick. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. Mid lane now we're seeing something very different. We had two utility mage versus a Yasuo in the mid lane. We're now seeing the Syndra from iGlitchy. Mystic Wave still going with kind of utility mage in the Malzahar. I do think the Syndra has the advantage in this 1v1. Just the specific range advantage that she has able to throw out the Qs and kind of pop that Malzahar CC shield so that they're able to set up for the jungler. I do think Syndra does have the ability to. If the Malzahar goes Merc Treads, then the solo kill potential goes down a little bit, but I do think Syndra's able to do Syndra things in this Malzahar lane pretty well. So I do like that pick from iGlitchy. We'll have to see how good he is on that one. If he's anywhere near as good as Syndra as he is on Yasuo, I think he'll be able to take this lane by the horns. Bot lane is kind of interesting for me because we're really switched up. Joe Killera does not. He goes to the Caitlyn. He's a really, really good Jinx player, but Buffafelios takes that one away from him.
Threw it out the window.
Bard. Yeah. Interesting. How do you see this bot lane playing out? We got Caitlyn Yuumi versus Jinx Bard.
So Caitlyn Yuumi, very heavy poke. It's going to be a lot of harass coming out of those two. I think we're going to see a kind of struggle for the Jinx Bard. If they are able to force a fight, catch one of them with like a Bard stun or with the chompers or what have you, it's going to go very heavily in favor of the Jinx Bard. But if they're not able to get that fight going and it just ends up being a lot of poke, it's going to be a real bad time for them.
It's tough for TDK because when I look at this Jinx Bard lane, it's rough to see them playing from behind, like playing at their turret. That's not where the Bard wants to be. He wants to be pushed out. So if they can't really get a push on the lane, and Caitlyn and Yuumi have them have the wave in a good spot and are able to manipulate it, then it's going to be tricky for the Jinx Bard to get done what they want to. I do like Jinx and the Caitlyn as a specific ADC matchup, but I just don't like Bard if he's pushed up on a turret, and I worry that might happen against a Caitlyn Yuumi. But
all right, real quick before we go into the game, thoughts on the team comps themselves as a whole. What are we going to be seeing from each of them?
Yeah, I do think the laning phase is going to be really good from Team Billy, and we saw them able to translate good laning phases into a good mid game with the help of their jungler, and I don't think that's going to change here in Game 2. They've got the Syndra for a good early mid game. We saw the Vladimir being able to handle the Fiora pretty well last game. I don't know if he'll have trouble with the Riven this game, but if it goes the same way it did last, I see potentially 3 winning lanes from Team Billy, and I think they'll be able to use that to work into some good team fights. I do like the potential TDK have for utility and for pick. You've got the Malzahar, the Shen taunt. We didn't really talk about the Shen jungle right away, but that's actually an Infinite Blades classic. Back in Season 0, they're jungling Shen, and they're still doing it now, so kind of cool to see that. But they have the pick. They have the ability to pick members of Team Billy. They didn't use it as much as I'd like to see, or maybe it didn't really work out for them in the end just because of the raw damage Team Billy had. But TDK has a pretty clear condition as to how they want to play this map. And if they're not able to be successful in that, like they were in Game 1, I think this is going to be another Team Billy win.
All right. I think we're pretty ready to head into Game 2 then.
Yeah, let's get started.
Loading up here. We do have it on stream. That's beautiful. All right, and yep, you did call with that Shen jungle. So I'm curious to see that. I feel like I haven't seen a Shen jungle in a long time, and it looks like all 5 are getting ready to invade. So we'll see if they're able to do anything level 1. No aggro on that Bard. Does have his stun. I'm sure that Shen's going to be taking taunt for the follow up.
Yeah,
pretty dangerous spot.
Kind of a sloppy fan. I'm not sure what the game plan here is from Team Billy for their lineup, but if they don't watch their entrances like really closely and have their hands, their mouse right on their character, they might fall victim to an invade. Bard, a really good level 1, is he's able to stun somebody up against the wall, follow that up with a taunt, and you've got a kill there. So let's see what happens here.
2 people off each other, which Syndra is right there. This could be what we're about to witness. Syndra throws down a Q, but Bard's
gonna flash.
He
Ooh,
might not flash. Nope. Looks like the rest of his team is backing off. Just gets down some vision, and they're going to back out of it.
Yeah, so we'll see what they can do with this vision. Unfortunately, Shen not the best punisher of the understanding of jungle's path. So even if they see the Jarvan go to a red and then Gromp blue to hit level 3 and then contest Scuttle or gank like top and bot, don't know if Shen's going to be able to do much to counter it anyways, just due to the nature of the champion. So while I do like the vision, that's 4 whole wards there. Not sure it's going to be take much of effect as far as the jungle itself goes.
Yep, I agree. All right. Let's see. Everybody's heading back to their respective lane right now.
So if I remember correctly, the only 3 camps that do get you level 3 are the Gromp, the blue, and the red. So that's kind of why you see Infinite Blades pathing down to his Gromp, and you might see him walking all the way straight to his red if he wants to make a level 3 play, but he might concede the full clear. Ooh, nice
Good
trade.
coming out of Cameron Beats there, putting down all that damage, making sure to get all 3 hits with the Q, and weaving those autos in between each of them. Chunks the Vlad down to under half.
Yeah. So, ooh, this is interesting. Watch Jarvan's pathing on the mini-map. He's only level 2. He did the red and the blue, so he's going to walk up and try and take that red. He predicts that Infinite Blades is going to do the full clear, and you see him do so, taking those wolves, signifying that he wants to just clear his jungle out, you know, maybe reset, not get off a gank super early. We'll see if they meet at this red buff. Shen's walking over. It might be too late. I'd like to see the camera pan on that. Yeah, here we go.
Smite does go down, but it is secured by Stro. Looks like he's going to be able to just walk right out of there. Malzahar kind of collapsing, but not much to do, so he just heads right back to lane.
Yeah, as Malzahar, you don't really have the tools to be able to deal with a jungle invade. Your 2v2 is not great until level 6, plus he didn't have much prio in that lane, thanks to Syndra being Syndra. So, good invade from Stro, working off lane
there's a nice
priority.
little stun coming down from Node aggro, but damage does get traded on both sides. Node aggro running pretty low on mana here.
Yeah, is going to be able to pop a couple potions, though, and work himself back up to health. And then same with the Caitlyn. You know, if you're in this Caitlyn Yuumi lane, you actually don't mind the trades going on to the Caitlyn, because Yuumi can heal up pretty well.
Heals it right up. All right.
Ooh. He zoned the Bard off, but we'll see if he uses his magical journey to make his way back to the lane.
So what I do like is Caitlyn throwing her traps down along the side of the wall to hopefully catch Bard when he comes through. But meanwhile, we do have some action top lane. Stro coming in, saving that flag and drag. Does miss it. Cameron Beats jukes out of the way, and she's able to get out of there pretty safely. Good play by her.
Yeah, the Riven able to get out without you having to burn the flash is huge. Usually you have to burn that flash to dodge the Jarvan flag and drag, but then again, that's not always safe because a good Jarvan will actually predict the flash and then EQ flash and buffer the animation, be able to catch up anyways. So even flashing the EQ is not 100% safe against a good Jarvan, but so that just really exacerbates the fact that how fortunate Cameron Beats is able to get there without burning flash. So good play on her.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if Cameron's going to change up his build a little bit this time and build that healing reduction, get an early Avarice Blade in, or he's going to still wait a bit.
Yeah, I think Riven is able to do that a little bit more easily because she goes the longsword build, so being able to translate one of these longswords into that Avarice Blade I think is a bit easier. Fiora likes to go a Tiamat really quickly, so may not be quite as easy for her. And then again, Tiamat does have longswords in it, so I don't really know. We'll see whether he does learn from his previous game or not.
Shen's still farming it out so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't seen any ganks from him yet.
Yeah, that's the tough thing about the Shen jungle is, you know, if you're sacrificing jungle clear speed, we might have a fight here.
Damage being traded down, but Caitlyn does turn a lot back onto the Bard.
Yeah, crucially, the Bard Q just missed pinning Caitlyn to the wall, so was able to just stand there next to the wall and get off a full amount of damage. So I think that fight might have turned a lot differently had that Q gone into the wall.
Damage being traded over by Cameron Beats. Illuminati throws back a little bit. He's going to pop that Q, heal up a bit more.
Yeah, I'd like to see Vladimir actually pull the third Q from Riven in these trades because you know it's coming, and there's going to be a lot more follow-up damage if you do get hit by that third knockup. So I'd like to see him, you know, kind of just committing to that pull.
There's a nice little stun coming out of the Bard, but yeah, damage traded right back over. Bard actually almost goes down. Meanwhile, Vlad takes a lot of damage, throws his pool out. Good heal at the end.
See, these pools I think are just too late. You're giving up a lot of unnecessary damage to the Riven. So, you know, I think it's a little bit of a gamble that you have to pay, but so far Camera Beat's playing it really well, showing some good Riven mechanics so far.
We do have Jarvan up at that top side. He might be looking for a gank here, trying to see if Riven will overcommit.
Yeah, they have a big wave crashing though, so I don't think Vladimir's wanting to actually try and make this gank happen right now. He wants to farm that wave. Stro doing his Gromp right now. I'm not sure if Infinite Blades will try and rotate up and look for that, or if he's just going to go for a recall. Not sure what jungle Shen's build these days. If they just go straight into the Cinderhulk, or if they try to get a Tiamat for clear speed. I'm very uninformed.
I could not even
Shen
begin to
jungle.
tell you.
Yeah, interesting ghost choice there. You can obviously understand why he did it, but kind of curious. The flash taunt mechanic not being available is definitely something to keep your eye on here.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what they end up doing with that. Mystic just kind of roaming towards the dragon, cleared some vision there.
Mount Dragon, not something that either of these teams are super excited about. Jarvan building the tank early, Shen building the tank. That's about it, though. You got carries in the top, mid, and ADC. Neither support is building tank, so...
Oh, Riven does drop the ultimate. Misses the stun, but she does get the third knock-up. Ooh, Illuminati trades over a lot of damage, though. He might be looking for this. He does pick it up with the Emo Blade. Meanwhile, iGlitchy in the mid lane throws down her ultimate, is able to secure the kill on Malzahar. I am Stro's here, but he doesn't have any mana, and yep. He's able to... Note Aggro is able to get out after finishing off and securing the kill on iGlitchy.
Yeah, so despite the bar roam, the Syndra able to get off the ultimate in the 1v2 and pick up the kill there. Was very low, so ended up dying to the Bard after. Actually, it was the Malzahar being nice. So I was about to point out how crucial it was that the kill went to Syndra, but Malzahar did end up picking his kill on the other end. So that's pretty good on that side too. And it kind of just goes to show the Syndra actually being very favored in this matchup, able to take a 1v2 and still come out with a kill.
Yep, absolutely. All right, let's see. Meanwhile, Shen is 6 now, so we can be looking for that global ult pressure. So if he makes use of that.
Yeah. I think he'll have plenty of opportunities to do because all of 3 of these lanes are skirmishing pretty frequently. So I think he'll really need to hover on his R key for that, and then probably turn that into a dragon. At least that's the game plan for sure. But I'm curious to see whether he has to use it offensively or defensively to be able to join his team. So
Yeah, absolutely.
curious build from the Malzahar here, going for the tier first. You usually see them go right kind of into the Loons. I wonder if he's building an Archangels, which I think is the only item you can build with tier that's AP, but pretty curious about that.
Might be. I don't know. You're the mid laner here. You should know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure on that one. So this is kind of the thing about the Shen jungle. If he wants to keep repeat clearing his jungle, the Jarvan's going to get control of the river. Able to move up and try and look for a mid lane gank here. Like I said, the dragon is not super important.
Hang on, I am Stro and Mystic Wave though, right next to each other. Yeah, Stro doesn't want anything to deal with that right now. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
He's got iGlitchy coming in around the corner.
Yeah. But
Yep,
the
it's
Bard
a
roam
bad
to
spot
follow
for him
up.
to be. Shen ult is coming down. Buys him some time, but Shen is not particularly healthy himself, and he just gets brought down. No Dagger is here, so it is still a 2v2, but there's the teleport from Illuminati. Comes right in. Killing ult secures the kill on No Aggro. Meanwhile, Mystic Wave is in a bad spot. 1Q coming out of Illuminati does secure it.
Yeah, I actually expected that
nothing, I think, there.
Definitely expected that to go in favor of the Dandelion Knights, as they had the Shen ultimate onto Malzahar with the Bard roaming up, but just not enough damage there. And actually with the Shen coming out, like you mentioned, at pretty decently low health, they were able just to drop the Syndra Unleash power on him, take them out of the fight, and then the TP in kind of sealed the deal. So
Shen just bringing a nice little bit of delivery in these trying times for Syndra to pick up and have a nice meal.
Yeah, that's what you like to see as a Syndra, somebody jumping in with 300 health. You're in ult range, we'll try and dodge this R with your abilities. So
there's here we are seeing the ghost coming out. Syndra's got no mana, so she's gonna have to try and just run away. She does get taunted up. Looks like they're gonna try and hand this off to the Shen. One more out of there it is.
Yeah, kind of a panic ignite from iGlitchy. Drops that even though, like you mentioned, she had no mana, and I believe it was Notagro was still at about half health, but yeah.
Dangerous to be pushed up so far without any mana in that situation, but
yeah, I think she might have been trying to she had the red buff. I guess that doesn't do damage to turrets anymore, but I think she was trying to greed out for that second plate there, so definitely paid for it. Crucially, I mean, look at the gold. It's it's a 3-kill advantage for Team Billy, and they do have that Mountain Dragon, but that pretty dead even on the gold, and a lot of that is due to the top lane farm that
Riven's
Riven has
coming in
acquired.
again. Didn't pop ult this time, just doing some good damage trade. Vladimir's able to turn back a bit.
Yeah,
Still no grievous wounds on Riven though.
I think she realized after the first time that just jumping in on the Vladimir at full health wasn't really in kill range, just because of the pool and the sustain. It can drop the Hemoplague, get a little extra healing at the end. This Riven's never going to be able to one-shot this Vladimir or one combo this Vladimir unless she gets really far ahead. So definitely going to need to rotate quite a few trades in there before going for the killing blow.
Absolutely agree with that. Looks like we do have some action getting ready for top lane. Jarvan's looking for a lane gank. Shen's nearby. It looks like he's prepping for a river gank, so we are going to see a 2v2 here. Here it comes. Smite comes down onto him. Jarvan jumps in. A lot of damage being brought down onto the Riven. Meanwhile, Shen taunts them up, and they're able to trade 1-for-1 there. So now it's just Shen up against the Vlad. Looks like he's still going for it. I'm not sure if that's going to be the best idea in the long run. Meanwhile, bot lane, though, a lot of damage being brought down onto the Bard. He goes drop back to top lane. Wow, Illuminati diving tower. There's the flash with the Q. Picks it up. 3-for-1 across the map in favor of Team Billy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The 2v2 was really close, and it actually ended up the TDK got the kill first, despite Team Billy actually baiting with the Jarvan in the bush. Usually you see the team that actually has their jungler hiding and reveals last ends up getting the win just because of the element of surprise. But they were able to trade pretty evenly in there, but the Vladimir coming out with a lot more health, able to chase down the Shen, and then like you saw, the chain of CC from the Caitlyn traps straight into the damage was able to take out the Bard, and an unfortunate last... ult tried to drop it on himself to save him from some damage, but was killed before the ult landed. So yeah, 3-for-1 like you mentioned.
Hang on, there's a glitchy flashing in. Flash is traded by Mystic Wave. Good reaction there. I don't think he would have survived otherwise.
Here comes the Bard.
Note aggro comes in, instantly chunked a good bit by that Q. Ignite coming down. There's the ultimate. He ults himself a little bit late to absorb the damage, but meanwhile, flag and drag. There's the Shen ult coming in a little bit late. He comes in, misses the taunt, not quite enough range, but Flash Q from I Am Stro picks that up. Top lane, we have more action going on. They won't let me rest my voice. Illuminati picks up the Riven kill in the 1v1.
Yeah, that wasn't really close. You don't like that if you're the Riven. That she was able to get off. She didn't even get off her ultimate there. Wasn't even able to get enough conquer damage down. Not sure about this Essence Reaver build if this is a Riven standard.
I Am Stro coming in here, doesn't even need to do anything. Caught up by the Shen, but he's just outside of tower range. Does have I Am Stro pretty low, and yeah, but he's able to get out though with a nice little assist from the blast cone.
Yeah, Team Billy kind of winning across the board here. You see mid lane going in their favor, especially with Jarvan turning up in the end. Bard roaming is kind of tricky into a Syndra because if you aren't able to kill her right off the bat with the Ignite and the Q with mid lane following up, then Iglitchi's just going to drop that ultimate on and maybe turn onto the squishy support. And then top lane, yikes, that Vladimir's got 5 kills, really put the hurt down onto the Riven. So, and then right when we finished casting that fight...
Riven engaging all the way in on him, throwing down a lot of damage. She's doing really good. If she can get a little bit more on, she can finish off the kill. But yep, he looks like he might be able to get out of there. There's the slow. Underneath the tower, she does pick it up, and she is able to get out. Good solo kill. Good decision by Cameron Beast to recognize the opportunity and go in on it.
Yeah, that's the ult economy we're talking about right there. Cameron Beats does have his available to him, but Illuminati could see it's off cooldown right now, but wasn't available in that fight as he had used it in the previous fight. So that ult availability kind of switched that fight. So, of course, the first one definitely looks skewed because Riven didn't use hers and Vladimir was able to all in with his, but with the Hemoplague down, definitely winnable for the Riven.
So Riven first itemed Essence Reaver. Is that... I'm not super familiar with Riven, as I mentioned in the past. I'm not good enough to play her. Is that common for Riven to pick up?
No, it may be a new build, and I'd love to have chat talk with us about that. Any Riven players there, but usually you see the Tiamat or the Black Cleaver, but
hey, now we have some action. Note aggro is able to take the little escape route. There's a Caitlyn ult. Does get intercepted by somebody. And as we were discussing the Riven build, Ocean Drag was secured by Team Billy, so they're going to use this extra sustain, try and push down mid. Good amount of wave clear coming out from the Malzahar, though, but they are putting down some good damage regardless.
Second game, we're going to be looking at a Cloud Soul here as far as the Dragon goes, but Team Billy aren't wanting to make that a factor. They're wanting to close this thing right out before Soul Point even happens, and they're kind of on pace to do so with a 3,000 gold lead and an 8-kill advantage here. Turrets are 2-1, so not as bad as they were last game. TDK still holding on to a bit more of the map than they did last game, but see Vladimir on the mini map and maybe
Cameron
looking for a flank
brought
here.
really low. Yumio comes down, flag and drag from the
Here we go.
Jarvan. He's looking for the engage. Shen ult came down. He does trap in a couple of people, but they are going to buy some time with the Bard ult. Bard blown up right away, followed by Shen not long afterwards. That's going to be mid tower. Now they're able to push all 5 still standing for Team Billy. They're heading
Yeah.
out of this tier 2. Jarvan throws down the flag, speeds up some attack speed, and just more importantly interrupts their recalls.
Yeah, the Bard Tempered Fate was just that. They were putting off their demise for a couple seconds longer, and like you said, got blown up right after that ult. Yeah, kind of unfortunate that he ulted himself and his teammate right there. Got Team Billy a chance to crowd around in and set up their following CC and damage afterwards. So yeah, opening up this game with the fight. They're going to go over to grab their second Rift Herald here and see if they can expose more of these turrets with that, possibly even pressure for an inhibitor at 17:30 in the game.
Team Billy just clearing out the jungle on their way over there and setting up vision. Meanwhile, bot lane, we might see a fight breaking down here if Shen and Riven really want to push this.
I
Glitchy
think
is
they
low
should.
on mana, but there is the Vladimir.
Yeah, they should go for
Yeah,
this.
Riven
They really
pops
should.
ult. There's the flash. She's looking for it. Does pull the third Q. There's the stun, and they're just running right past the Vlad. They want to get high glitchy. They're just letting Vlad throw down damage. They do secure that 1 kill. Meanwhile, there's Vladimir. Does dodge the ultimate. Riven putting down some good damage, though. All right, and the rest of the team collapses in on this.
Yeah, this is a good play, and I like to see TDK go for that. They realized the sustain battle was not in Team Billy's favor with the mana pool from the Syndra, so they felt free to go ahead and chase in on that, and I do like that. The rest of the team collapsing around, I think, was a good move. They'd already conceded the Rift Herald to Team Billy, so nothing really else to play for them up there, so I like this pressure. They're not able to get the bottom lane turret, which is a little bit disappointing. That's still standing, and you might see a counter engage here.
Yeah,
Traps do
Kaylin
land.
cleansed, and she's trying to get up there. Or, sorry, not cleanse. It was actually the Yuumi Crucible. There's the Yuumi
Here we go.
ultimate coming down. Meanwhile, Malzahar does turn around and kill the Caitlyn. We got kills coming down across the board. Team Billy looks like they're trying to disengage. Illuminati's brought a little bit low. He is healing up. There's the Ignite on him. Riven wants to take him down. She manages to succeed in that. I am Strogan, stunned up a little bit. Riven is popping off now. Had a bit of a rough laning phase earlier, but she is 5-3 currently, looking to be 6-3. Nope. Instead, it goes over to the Shen. That's a good fight for the Dandelion Knights. Really turning around right there.
That was outstanding. It could have gone a lot worse. You saw Shen ulting in onto, I believe it was the Jinx, who was at like sub 100 HP. If someone had been able to take her out in the couple seconds that the Shen ult was channeling, that fight could have gone a lot different. He was able to arrive, and like you said, Cameron Beats doing the dirty work in the back line. Death Dance picking that one up now, and actually she's looking to be a real threat here in this game. So it's just not over yet. Only 3,000, just a little over 3,000 is the goal difference, but...
Yeah, it was really good. Cameron saw the opportunity with Syndra there being a bit exposed and just instantly dove on her. Took her out of the fight before she could do all the work that she's been putting out.
Dragon coming up now here, in about 30 seconds or so is going to be that Cloud Dragon. So definitely, these teams aren't going crazy about it. Like, it's great on Syndra. You like it on the Jarvan and the Vladimir. Caitlyn and the Yuumi, not quite as ult reliant. As maybe the other 3 are. Shen likes that. The Malzahar does as well. It could be a decent pick, and both teams are kind of posturing around.
Oh, Caitlyn in a bad spot. Instantly, Mystic wasted no time in throwing that ult down. But she is able to put down a lot of damage on her own. Yuumi is going to be brought out herself. No one to escape to. Meanwhile, Cameron Beats tried to chase down Glitchy. Looks like she might be able to get away. There's the stun, and ultimate goes down, but doesn't do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, Merc Treads there, helping out a lot. Yeah, I really like to see this from TDK. This is what we wanted to see from them in the first game. They're picking these pick compositions that have a lot of catch potential. We saw the Lissandra the first game. It's the Malzahar this game. Ooh, Vladimir wants it.
Illuminati looking to go in, but no aggro just nopes out of that situation, and they're all fine.
Yeah,
Did manage to secure their first dragon of the game. Gonna have a little bit of alt cooldown. That'll go a good distance towards being able to pick the fights that they want. Riven ult and Shen ult and everything else going on for them. That's gonna be good.
Team Billy have to be really careful if they're not on par with their positioning or communicating where they want to go or staying as a group. This TDK team really has the tools to be able to catch them out and transition into some objectives that they keep getting pick after pick. Not to mention their itemization is a lot easier this game than it was last game with the Syndra and the Vladimir being ahead. They can feel free to opt into MR. We saw how little damage the Riven took from the Syndra ult in that last fight. He's able to build the Merc treads as well as that.
He's finished off a head
Hexdrinker.
strinker right now.
Yeah, Infinite Blades pathing into the Spectre's Cow with the Merc treads as well. We might see Mystic Wave going with the Banshee's Veil at some point in this game. They have the opportunity to get some good magic resist. So I like that.
Right now after finishing her Infinity Edge, has picked up the Executioner's Calling, so they do have at least some form of Grievous Wounds on their team now.
Yeah. At this point, if you're the Riven, we haven't really seen the Riven splitting against the Vladimir that much this game, and I don't know if we'll continue to see it because of how many fights are breaking out. So at this point, if the Riven didn't build the Executioner's Calling in lane, you might as well not build it now and let your ADC pick that up. So good on them to at least get some healing cut for this team fight.
Yeah, makes sense to me. Put it on that ADC who's going to put out a bunch of AoE damage. Really apply it to everybody.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yep.
Ooh, there's the Bard getting caught out.
Not able to get the Bard escape. Yumi ult being used as a bit of a disengage. There's the Jarvan comes in. Meanwhile, Cameron Beats is in on their backline, gets CC'd. He's going to go down. I am Stro 1v3 in the back, though. He has to flash out of there. Joe Killer. Vlad finally makes his appearance into the fight. Yep, he's cleaning up everything right now. They're trying to disengage.
Yeah. Team Billy played that fight really well, and see if it's over here. I don't think they'll be able to catch on to him real quick. But crucial scatter of the week from the Syndra there. Cameron Beats was lining up his third Q and got hit by the Syndra stun, and they were able to transition that into a few Caitlyn autos, and that kind of sealed the fight for them. If Cameron Beats was able to get on the back line, that might have been the fight one for TDK, but they were able to disengage really well, keep their carries together, and fight the Riven off.
That whole fight could have gone the entirely opposite direction. That was a really good scout of the week.
Oh, TP coming in from behind. The Riven is looking for this.
She's coming in, gets knocked up by I Am Stro. Meanwhile, Nodacro kind of running interference for iGlitchy. He's brought down by Malzahar. Meanwhile, there's Shen catching out the Caitlyn and Yumi combo. He's going to go down.
This is huge.
Yep.
That's 4 kills. This might be the Baron.
This very well could be the Baron. This is a really good turnaround. Very nice teleport play to really get that fight rolling.
Yeah, and her team was right on it. Like, sometimes you see the TP disconnect where the team's really not sure if they want to go in or can't find a way in. But the Dandelion Knights were right on top of that fight and were able to follow the Riven up. And really good fight. Nets them 4 kills in the Baron. I didn't see what kind of bounty the Team Billy had on some of their members, but I'm sure a couple of them had some shutdowns, so they're able to pick those off, grab some extra gold. And
Vladimir is all alone right here. He has to pull. He has nobody near him, though. He's going to be brought down. But he does manage to secure the Jinx, though. So that's one Baron off of the Dandelion Knights.
Yeah, that looks scary for a second. I thought there was a chance he could wipe up a couple members there, even in the 1v5. Does pick up the the Jinx. So good on him to at least get that 1 kill, but unfortunately for him, the Jinx is probably the member with the least bounty due to his kill score at the moment. So,
yep, agreed. All right, we do have the Dragon coming up fairly soon. Gonna be the next objective on the map.
So we've got their Shen splitting up in the top lane. Which, due to the fact that Riven doesn't have her TP up, this is probably the right lane assignment for allocation. But they might group and just try to run down as 5 and contest this. Don't want to risk the Shen ult from a side lane. I think he might be doing the camps and going back to the lane. We'll see if he stays in that lane. But the rest of them are going to start to gather around here. Vision is being laid. Team Billy currently have the positional advantage. We'll see if TDK are sloppy in their contest. Looks like they're lying in wait. Ooh. Stro does not pull the trigger on the flag and drag.
Yeah. Vision control definitely favoring Team Billy right now. They're the ones able to pick the fight. Vladimir is not there, but he does have teleport up. There's the Malzahar engage.
Oh, here we go.
Flashes out. Oh, Cameron beats getting the Shen ult. It is enough to get him there. Cameron's still alive. He does drop ultimate, then he does get
so
bursted there.
close.
Everyone suddenly disappears all at
Yeah.
once. Oh man.
Yeah, that was nuts. They held on for a really long time, but the Vladimir AoE damage was just huge in that fight. 9, 3, and 7 on this with the death cap and even the stopwatch unused. They'll pick up a 4 for 1 and move on with that dragon. Not sure if they're going to be able to get any towers. Looks like they're going through bot lane.
Yeah, bot lane, they will be able to get one. Syndra's pushing mid right here. She might be looking for the pick on the buff of Helios. See if he steps close enough. Nope, he's able to maintain enough distance. They do pick up one tower bot lane. Looks like they're pushing for that second one. Recall, death timers are coming up, so I think they'll be able to get the tower, but anything more than that is going to be really risky.
Yeah, they need to be together on this. If the Vladimir is going to back, they all have to back together. The last thing you want to do is get caught out with one of your members backing and then, concede another bad fight. So it's good that they all backed off right at once. That's something that can land you in a really bad spot is not being clear in what you want to do at that point.
So Nets Dragon will be a soul for Team Billy if they're able to secure it. Having that extra move speed on Vladimir when he throws down his ult, that's terrifying.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's one of the biggest abusers of the Cloud Soul. I'd say top 5 for sure. Syndra's no slouch either with being able to get a burst of movement speed after casting that unleashed power. So Cloud Soul definitely, even just for the Vladimir alone, super worth it for Team Billy. And while it's going to be a few minutes, the Baron is going to be a few minutes as well. Less time for sure. So the Baron is going to be the first thing on the table. So these guys are just trying to get their farms, get their creeps, collect those items, and be as big as possible for this next fight coming up here shortly.
All right. My favorite question to ask at this point, if you are the Dandelion Knights, what are you looking to do? How are you looking to come back and try to retake victory for your team?
Same as last game, it's got to be about the vision. You have to be able to walk together and establish vision because your one way into these team fights is being able to land a Malzahar ult or a Bard stun onto one of the crucial members. If you're fighting all in at a 5v5 where everybody knows everybody's position and it's kind of laid out in front of you, then I think Team Billy take that team fight. So the fact that right now you see the Dandelion Knights walking through unexplored
and there's
territory.
the engaged flag and drag comes out of the Jarvan. No aggro is going to be brought down low. He gets popped.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be a 4v5 now if they look to for any fights until he spawns back in. They did secure top tower. They're going to be looking for that inhib tower.
Yeah, Team Billy fighting on their vision.
In a bit of a rough spot there. Not sure if he wants to be there. Oh, Vladimir flashes over the wall. He does put a lot of damage on the buff of Helios, who does go down to the ultimate there. Hemo Plague does so much. Meanwhile, Imstro still looking for the fight.
Oh no.
So much damage. Caitlyn and Glitchy are still alive, and Vladimir's as well. Riven comes in at the very end. She's going to be brought down. Not quite able to pick up any of those kills. Oh, no aggro. Is he able to do it? He is not.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, you saw the Malzahar ults on the Caitlyn. That's why you got to check the enemy's inventory. If you're a Malzahar or playing a champion with a crucial lockdown CC, got to check and see who's got those QSSs because she was able to get out of that one really quickly.
Yep, QSS on Caitlyn and Crucible on Yuumi. It's going to be impossible to lock down Caitlyn. There it is again. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to be a double in hit for Team Billy. They're going to be pathing back. Baron is up in about 30 seconds, so I think we'll see the reset from the Vladimir. Not sure if Caitlyn needs to buy, but they'll want to jump out and be on the map right away. We were talking about the vision as a key element for TDK to be able to set up these plays. Well, when you're walking on Team Billy's vision, let alone an even map, things don't go so well for you. They're able to take the team fight pretty easily and even dive the turrets to pick up some of those extra kills. So I really want to see TDK jump to this Baron, be first to the vision, and then look for a pick from there. If their setup does not pan out like that, they will lose the fight just because of the deficit they find themselves in. So, it's got to be the play for them to group up and look for a pick.
Meanwhile, Dragon's going to be spawning within the next minute, so it's going to be a split objective here unless somebody's able to secure this Baron really fast.
I think despite the fact that the Dragon is a soul, the priority has still got to be on the Baron here if you're Team Billy, because this is going to help you close out the game, I think, a lot easier than the soul is. So if you're able to take this, and even if it doesn't look like
Jinx
TDK.
in a bad spot, though. No choppers available for her. She does get...
No flash.
Hit. Yep, nothing. She's taken out. Iamstro still has the flash.
Oh.
Yumio comes down, able to pick up the Riven. Meanwhile, Illuminati's 1v2. He is silenced, able to still sustain through so much of this.
No.
Does pick up the kill. So much healing coming out of him. Infinite Blades just doesn't have the damage to take him down. Yeah, that's a third of his health bar. That's crazy. Yeah, Infinite Blade's going to be brought down. It's just a matter of time here. Meanwhile, the team is ending the game, pushing through, taking down those last towers.
We were just watching Illuminati show off there as his team closes in for the victory. Outstanding game by Team Billy. Able to pick the fights that they wanted almost every single time, not let TDK set up their picks or their vision. They were able to pull the trigger right away. Jinx caught out there at the end. Iamstro, good awareness going in on that right away. And they completely eliminated the win condition for the Dandelion Knights, able to take those team fights really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in, because this was the games from week 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm eager to see their game 2 matches and how they move forward from here towards the rest of the season. As we've talked about, both these teams are veterans at Seal, so I'm very eager to see them through the rest of the season. I'll be playing against both of them, so I'm super excited and a bit scared of that prospect. We'll see how that goes. But yeah.
I like, the Dandelion Knights really showed some life. Went from behind. I really like that play bot especially. That just says a lot to how a team's able to maintain composure. They recognize weaknesses in the enemy team, even despite how few they were, and were able to pull the trigger on those right away. They have some good team cohesion. Now it's just about figuring out what their win condition for their comp is and executing playing to that win condition. And that's the case for a lot of teams, is figuring that step out is so crucial for a team to work together. But Team Billy, man, you can't not be impressed with these guys. They know how to carry from every role. We saw an MVP performance from Vladimir this game. Jungle popping off last game, and their mid and ADC putting up consistent huge numbers every time. So they're going to look to once again be a threat in the Shriva division.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to take a bit of a break and see if we'll be casting the net series. Thank you guys for coming in, tuning in with us, and we'll hopefully be back in a little bit.
Yeah, thanks guys. Catch you later.